Let's see what are functions. A function is a name given to pieces of code, something like print statement or the length function that we have used earlier. In technical terms, function is a useful chunk of code that allow us to encapsulate a task. But what is an encapsulation? Encapsulation is a way to carry out series of steps in one simple command. For example, we have used print function where we pass string as well as numbers. So when we pass a string, we just know that the print function is going to print that string on the screen, but we don't know how it does it. And we don't even have to write that piece of code which actually does the printing job. We just have to call the print statement with the values that we pass to the function, and print function will take care of everything. Similar way, the length function works. We pass a string variable or a string. The length function gives us the length of that string. We don't even know how it calculates that length of the string, but we just know that it will give us the length of the string. Now, what are the things that function can do? A function can name a pieces of code the way variables name strings and numbers. They take arguments the way scripts take argv or the variables. They allow to make tiny commands. They help in organizing and optimizing the code. Let's see the syntax. So we tell Python to make a function by using a def keyword, which is a short form for define. So to define a function, we use def keyword space, name of the function, parenthesis. Inside parenthesis, we pass 0, 1 or more than 1 arguments, and we at the end of the function header we put colon, and from the next line we start writing the function body. Now let's see some of the examples of custom functions. Let's create a simple function which is going to print a hello message. So let's say print underscore greetings, and it's going to print hello. So this is how we define a function. So let's evaluate it. So we have a function defined which with the def keyword. We have name of the function which is print underscore greetings. Then we have parentheses. There are no arguments, basically zero arguments to this function, and the function header ends on colon. Then we have function body. This just has one print statement. Now let's see how to call this function. Print underscore greetings. That's it. So we have defined a function and we called it. Now let's execute this program and see the output. So Python space simple function dot py. See, it is printing a hello message as per we have mentioned in the function body. So we saw how to create a function, but this function was without any argument. Let's create a function with a single argument. Def print name. To this function we are going to pass a variable name, and let's add a print statement which is going to print an f string with the message and the name. Now let's call this function print underscore name, and since this function has one parameter, we will pass its value as Rahul. Now let's execute this program. Python simple function.py. Here we call two functions. One is hello greetings, second one is hello name. The hello greeting function just prints hello message, and hello name function prints hello with the name which we have passed as a parameter to the function. So here we saw how to create a function with a parameter. So name is a parameter. The parameter is nothing but a variable that we pass to the function. And then we use that variable anywhere inside our function body. Now let's see if we provide a default value to this variable. Say Rahul is my default value. I'll change this to maybe let's say Ronak. Python simple function. See, we pass a Ronak as a name and it is printing that Ronak name only. Now let's say if we do not pass any value. So we are going to remove this value and make it without any parameter. Let's see whether it works or not. So, Python simple function, and now it has given us the value as Rahul. The reason that when we call print name function without passing any value, it still worked and gave us name as Rahul because we are allowing it to have a default value. So the default value is used when we do not pass that parameter. Now let's say if we do not have a default value and if we do not even pass the parameter to the function call, what will happen? Python simple Python function. See, it gives us error. And so read the error carefully. It says it's a type error. The print name function is missing one required position argument name. So it is expecting a value to the name variable which we have not passed. And since there is no default value given to this parameter name in the function definition, we got an error. Now let's correct it. Okay, so let's pass here name as Rahul. And let's execute it again. Python function.py, and yes, now it is working perfectly fine. So here we created two functions, one without any parameter or without any argument, and the second with one single argument. Now let's create a third function. Let's give it name as print name and message, and we are going to have name comma message equal to empty value, that is called as an empty string, and we are going to say print, it's going to be an f string hello name and print message. Now let's call this function. So print underscore name underscore message, to which we are just going to pass one value, which is Rahul. So let's execute this program function. So here we can see that the hello Rahul is printed and there is one extra line gap. The reason we have that one extra line gap is because this message is having a default value as an empty string, which is defined over here, and we have not passed any message over here, and hence the next line was a completely blank. Now I can pass simple functions. Now let's execute this program again. Python simple function. Now see, it is printing name as Rahul and the message as well. So this is how you can create a multiple parameter function with the default value for some of the parameters. While defining the function with the arguments and having those arguments or some of those arguments a default value, you need to make sure that the arguments which has a default value are coming at the last, and the argument without any default values are put first in the function definition. So here we saw how to create a function, how to write or create its body, and how to pass arguments to the function, how to give a default value to the arguments, and how to pass the values to the argument while calling a function. So we are calling functions by passing these arguments. So these are the positional arguments. Now why positional arguments? Because the arguments are passed in the same position as the variables or the arguments are defined. So let's say if I pass this simple function first parameter and Rahul as a second, let's see the output. Python simple function.py. Now here you can see the first parameter that we pass is a simple function. So by default it is given to name argument or a name variable, and the Rahul is given to the message, and hence it has printed hello simple functions and Rahul as a message. So this way of passing a value to the function is called as pass by position. So there is another way to pass the values to the function, which is called as pass by name. So let's see how can we call a function by passing values by name. So here we have Rahul and simple functions. So this we can say message equal to, and this we can say name equal to. Now let's execute this file. Now let's execute this program simple function.py. Now see, it has exactly printed as per our expectation hello Rahul simple functions, although the values are passed in the different order. We pass first message and then the name, but we gave the name of the arguments or name of the variables that we want to indicate the value for, and hence the message is given simple functions as the value and name is given Rahul as the value.